What's going on, RotoBaller? Dave here to deliver you 3 running backs who could finish as this year's RB1, going outside the top 3 running backs. I'm not going to waste your time with like Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson. We all know they could finish RB1. That's why they're going in round 1. But I feel very confident that the 3 names I'm about to deliver you could absolutely finish as the RB1. And that is because this offseason, I did a study where I analyzed every running back who has finished top 3 at the position since 2010. I found a bunch of commonalities, and here's the criteria I found to finish top 3 at the position. 75% of the running backs had at least 250 carries on the ground. 30% had at least 300. Then there's the crucial pass catching element. 70% had 64 targets or more. 35% had 100 targets. And here's the kicker. 85%, and if you remove Raheem Mostert's kind of fluky touchdown season last season, he finished as the RB2, which is insane. We get 89%. 89% of running backs finishing in the top 3 had one or the other, either the 250 plus carries or 64 plus targets. And an elite tier had both. And this season, only 2 running backs check both those boxes. Christian McCaffrey and the guy who's going to be at the end of this list, which we will get to. But first up, it's Kieran Williams. Kieran Williams may be my favorite target in the second round. I mean, last season, dude finishes as the overall RB4, having missed 4 games. He was the RB2 in fantasy points per game. Please tell me why he's not going in round 1. Because we got a little scared off by this injury, which Sean McVay has already said is not going to be a big deal. He's absolutely going to be ready for week 1. He may start practicing next week. Or is it because of Blake Corum being drafted? Guys, did we not learn our lesson last season? Zach Charbonnet, or maybe when we got overhyped on Tank Bigsby stealing the workload from Travis Etienne. We always overrate rookies and how much they will eat into the starter's workload. This is Kieran Williams' backfield. They love him so much, that's why they drafted Blake Corum. He's his clone. So if Kieran Williams were to get injured, they have Blake Corum to go to, but this is his backfield. I think he's going to pick up right where he left off. So as a full season of Kieran Williams, I absolutely think he could usurp CMC as the RB1. Move on to my number 2 out of 3. This is Jonathan Taylor. Now, going right back to that study, 75% of league winners had at least 250 carries. I want to shout out one of the best in the biz at projections, Mike Clay, who has only 4 names this season surpassing 250 carries. JT is one of those names, projected for actually the second most carries in the NFL. Now, the Colts are set up to run the ball like crazy. They have a mobile quarterback, which I think helps the running game. They have to account for the RPO, and I think Jonathan Taylor could see some of the biggest running lanes of his entire career. Now, a lot of folks are worried about Jonathan Taylor's rushing touchdown upside, him possibly getting vultured by Anthony Richardson. A, I think there's going to be enough to go around. And B, this is not the Eagles, okay? This is not a tush-push team. Yes, Anthony Richardson is going to run in some touchdowns, but I think the Colts are going to be good. And if they're up in a game and they're at the goal line, I think Shane Steichen is going to ask A-Rich to put it in Jonathan Taylor's belly. Now, before I hit you guys with my number 1, please make sure to like this video. And if you're not already subscribed to RotoBaller on the channel, guys, we have content each and every day. And make sure to follow me over on TikTok at RotoBaller NFL. I'm giving you content every other day in under a minute. Okay, I mentioned when I did this study, only 2 names checked both boxes of being projected for more than 250 carries and 64 targets. The first name, obviously CMC. He's the king. He's the GOAT. That's why he's going number 1 overall. The other name definitely surprised me, and that name is Saquan Barkley. Let's go. Best offensive line of his career, by far. Best offensive situation of his career, by far. And if everything breaks right, he is certainly in the range of outcomes to hit 2,000 total yards. And if that's the case, You only need him to find the end zone like 6 or 7 times, which even DeAndre Swift was able to do last season with the Eagles. With injuries already piling up, I think Saquan Barkley is currently my favorite running back to draft. He's the perfect combo of a very safe floor in this good offense with, as I mentioned, a huge ceiling. RB1 type ceiling. Now, do you want 2 more names who could finish as the RB1? Well, then all you have to do is head over to RotoBaller to read the other Dave's article, which is up on the site. All right, guys, good luck in those drafts. Go win those leagues, and I'll see you next week.